The Breakfast Club beef between Jess Hilarious and Lauren LaRosa ends in the worst way possible.
You need to give it up. They had about enough. It's not hard to see. The job is mine.
What up, where's your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. But hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG, join the membership gang. Listen, I am not here to offend anyone. I am not here to take cheap shots or make anyone look bad. But I am here to follow up on a story that I did about 10, 11 days ago about the Breakfast Club debacle between Jess Hilarious and Lauren LaRosa, Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and the whole Breakfast Club crew, staff, the record label, everybody involved. And it was a full mess at the time. And I ended my sermon by basically saying that I didn't believe that it would work and that the 4-chair thing was not going to fit. But little did I know, some people, and I'm not going to say I agree or disagree, because I've learned in the course of doing these YouTube videos that you can't put nothing past anybody. And not to mention, you can't put nothing past anybody. You got to believe what your lying eyes tell you. And I'm not going to say I 100% believe that this was a not a scam. The word I'm looking for is a play. The word I'm looking for is a skit, or the word I'm looking for is a fake narrative built up by Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the God. I'm not sure if Lauren LaRosa is in it or not, but she would have to be, because she is benefiting the most with her new podcast. But I'm going to say this. I'm not going to subscribe to people like Poetic Flacco and different people who have come out with videos saying that this was all a setup, an elaborate scheme for views and clicks. But as I said a few seconds ago, I don't put things past anybody. I got my foot in my mouth, trusting Remy Ma. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be honest. I put my foot in my mouth with that one, gang. Turns out Remy ain't as thorough as I once believed. I thought she would never. You could have told me Pap was the problem. I would have shook your hand and said, you're right. But definitely not, because I got mad respect for Pap too. But it turned out I put my foot in my mouth and Remy was the problem. 100% the problem. And I really, really took her for her word. And I thought, there's no way someone who appears to be this solid would do something so janky as to cheat on her husband and lie about it in the public and make it look like all kind of other stuff was going on, and that was not the case. So I learned that when things look like what they look like, they probably are. So what I'm going to do is give you why I feel that this whole thing ended corny no matter what's going on. Jess Hilarious out of nowhere sporadically goes online and bugs completely out about their sitting in her chair. Lauren LaRosa is still in her chair. She done did 9 months. She had a baby, and she done had maternity leave and everything else. And Lauren LaRosa came in, did the whole job better. Even though she wasn't supposed to be doing the news, she's supposed to be doing Jess with the Mess, which don't include reading and being correct with your English and your diction, right? So what happened was Lauren didn't move. Even though Jess came back and she was back doing Jess with the Mess, Lauren is still there assisting on Jess with the Mess. Now you may say, Charles, why would she be there when she is just filling in for Jess? We all thought that. Why is she still sitting here? Why does Jess need to ask her to move from her seat? Your mind starts to wander and you start to spinning all these narratives like, why would a company such as iHeartMedia and Power 105, right? Why would they have a mix-up where they're not clear about when Lauren's start and end time is and why Lauren is still in that chair when Jess returns? All of the things that I surmised didn't make any sense. Like Jess is telling us, she goes live and tells us inner office dealings, telling us that the company is run like Fair East Side from the movie Lean On Me. She's saying it's run like a high school, right? She's running a bad high school. And she's telling us that they were never clear that Lauren was going to stay on. Now, some of you may say, That's possible. They could, and it makes no sense though, gang. It makes no sense to me when I think about it. I'm like, bro, for them to go and have them go weeks working and not be clear about what's happening in a multi-million-dollar corporation, you're not telling the on-air talent what's happening. You're not telling her, okay, we like Loren in that seat, so you're gonna sit there in that other seat, and we're gonna make room for both of you and see how it goes. There's no way you can't tell me that never happened, that they never had a conversation. At some point, you've been doing this for what, 12, 13 years? Jess is coming in off the street. Let's just be honest. You really have no reason to be tiptoeing around her. You pretty much call the shots here. You're not really beholden to like, yo, we need to please Jess. Like, let's be honest, Jess lucky to have that job. So why would iHeart and Power One, or whoever the powers that be at the station, why aren't they telling Jess that Loren is staying? And why isn't Loren telling her that? Why is Loren acting confused? Well, I pulled you to the side. We had the conversation about, why is Loren doing all this, like, diffusing of situation? Why is that Loren's responsibility? Before Jess set foot in that office, it should have been a conversation. Well, Jess, we like Loren. We like what she's doing. We're going to see how all four of you work out. Why is it Jess is going live talking about they never had this conversation and she doesn't know why Loren is still in her chair? This doesn't sound real to me, gang. I'm just going to be honest, but I believed it, and here we are. Now, I say all that to say, iHeart and Power 105 and Charlemagne the God didn't let this play out behind the scenes. When Jess went live that night, she had a whole lot to say, and it was very unflattering. It was nothing good, right? You remember that? Whose song was that? Was that Party song? You're not nice, you're rude. Like, I don't, like, listen. I don't know whose song it was, but that's how Jess came at this situation. She was not nice to Loren on that live. She was not nice to Charlemagne on that live. She was not nice to the staff of the Breakfast Club on that live. She was extremely rude and she was mean. And some would say that would deserve a suspension or a firing or both, right? It's like a breach of contract when you go and you badmouth the company and you tell a lot of inner office dealings, and you make them seem incompetent, and you tell them details of your contracts and things of that nature. That's cause for suspension. But did they suspend her? No, they went, and very first thing in the morning, I'm sure. Now, what we got to understand is, people move as they're told in a lot of these situations, and my brain is telling me Jess had to be in contact with them. Do I come in the morning? Right? After I explode like that the night before, because this wasn't just an ordinary, I'm mad. No, she was like, yo, this place, they're dumb. Like, this is, I don't like this chick. Like, she said a lot of stuff, gang. So you think she just got dressed that morning and no one told her what was up? So I'm like, someone at that company had to say, we're going to film this. We're going to bring you in and we're going to have this conversation on air. Someone had to tell her that, gang. Because she didn't just walk into that office not knowing, and they claim that Loren went to the elevator and closed the elevator on her, where there's real tension between them, allegedly, right? So Loren was like, I didn't know what time you was on. I wasn't ready to deal with it, so I closed the elevator, and I went upstairs and started getting ready for my day. Now, well, we're led to believe that these two had no words after that live, no words that morning before they started the interview, and that Loren wasn't even going to come in the studio until she saw Jess crying. She said, I only came in because you were crying, right? That's what we're led to believe. So here we are, I think a day or two after this thing go like viral, super viral, whereas media outlets are covering this thing that don't cover the Breakfast Club. Don't know who they are. They're covering the thing is super viral. This thing has eyeballs that it would never have had before because it got so messy. Now, I say all that to say this. I was like hesitant to watch. I said, I know it's going to be, she's apparently staying there. Those interactions are going to be awkward. I don't really want to see, I don't even watch a lot of Breakfast Club like that. I watch when they have a guest or they have a story or something, I'll tune in, but I can go 2 weeks without seeing anything, 3 weeks. So I'm not like, every day I gotta watch it. But I knew, I was like, those two, if they're going to sit there and try this 4 chairs thing, it's going to be awkward as hell. And I got enough going on. I don't need to see these two. I'll check in later and see how it goes, right? So apparently, they just jump right in. And what I did see a video pop up on my phone, I think it was the next day, where they're making light of the situation.
And they was like, yo, Jess Loren is on IG crashing out. I was like, well, who's she crashing out on? They said, she crashing out on the Breakfast Club. I said,
all I did was pronunciate, look at my syllables, understand grammar, context clues.
They're trying to make fun of it. Jess is quiet. She's just like, she won't say a word. She's just like, just sitting there. She keeps making these faces because she's still tight about this, allegedly, right? And I'm like, either this is genius or this girl is in an awful position, in an awful place where they're trying to force comedy out of this and she's really not finding it funny. I'm looking at the video. I'm trying to look into her eyes and I'm like, I think she really is legit still mad. No matter what's going on, I think this girl is in a situation where she just needs her check, so she's going to do what they ask her to do. And they're making skits about this. So I saw this little skit. I was like, I don't know what's going on, because the moderators must be on double time over there, because everybody in the comments loves it, right? They love it. Then they do this music video, the job is mine, which, again, the moderators give them raises, because I know they got to be filtering some awful, heinous comments, because I'm just going to be honest, and I'm not going to disparage these two. It's just, it's not a good skit. It's not a good video to me. I think the premise is awful because in my opinion, and I'm going to tell you why it's awful. I know a lot of people were in the comments of that video clapping, saying, this is how you do it, girl. Be regal about this, that. They turned into a back that everybody's applauding them for this skit. I'm not applauding them, because you know why? They never resolved this thing in public. You never resolved this thing to us. You brought it to us. She went live, gave us all this dirt. She told us everything was wrong. The whole castle's burning down inside. She don't even want to be there no more. Remember she said that? I don't even want to be there. She goes in the next day. They give us an 8-minute clip of her and Lauren. Then they give us another 8-minute clip of her and Envy. And that's it. It went nowhere. They showed us unless I missed some clips. Somebody could show me some clips. I didn't watch. I'm not going to sit there and watch a full episode trying to figure out what they're talking about. They gave us the clips. This was supposed to be the resolution. Last I saw was this girl wiping her eyes with tissue. I didn't see any resolution after that. And then I hear that Lauren LaRosa has a podcast deal with Charlemagne on the Black Effect Network, right? That's what I hear next. And then I hear rumblings that this was a staged, planned, choreographed stunt to bring publicity to Lauren's podcast. Now, I told you, I'm going to stop trying to say, no, that ain't it. Because that would be, I'm starting to feel like these choreographed stunts are getting a little, I don't like them. I'm just going to be honest. Adam 22, they put out a statement that he's been arrested by the feds. He comes back the next day. He milks it the whole day, goes live, and they ask him in the middle of the live, which everybody tuned in to see what happened. He waits an hour into the live, and someone said, so what about you being arrested? He said, that's cap. That was cap. So it was all a lie. So they're doing anything online to get you to watch. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting here. I never got any resolution. They put this thing in front of us. They had DJ Envy. That's corny, yo. Yo, B, that's corny. You did it. So he's all upset. He's up in arms, turning all red, right? Lauren is over there giving this girl tissues, and Charlemagne's eating his onion soup or whatever he's snacking on, right? He's laughing. Everything's a joke because he's the master, the puppeteer. He's seeing what's going on. He know that I'm about to drop this Black Effect. This perfect, right? He loves it. But to us, the viewer, we never got closure to this thing. So you think a skit video? Mind you, there were people who were really involved with this, really they were really invested in this situation, who didn't get closure. Like I said, if there's some type of video where these two sat down and had a watershed moment and was like, all right, girl, I get you, girl, I love you, girl, this is what I don't see that. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, but the Breakfast Club never showed us that. They showed us all the emotion, they showed us all the fun stuff for 15 minutes, right? And you still got Jess taking days off, right? I only think she's there today. She goes on Shannon Sharp. So I don't know if anything's resolved, but you're doing a video, the job is mine. You need to get... So now we can play with it when she was just crying a couple days ago. Right? And we got we don't know where the situation, it is what it is. But see, this is the same thing they did with Angela Yee, and Angela Yee left soon as she could. They made it like it was nothing, it was all good, and then it's like, I got an announcement. Then she's out of there. She's been gone for 2-3 years. So we don't know. I don't know if it's been resolved at all. I'm not saying that this thing is corny because the video, even though I thought the video was corny, but that's not why my title says the topic corny. My video says corny because they put the carrot out there and let everybody run to the video to see these two barking and arguing. They went to a commercial and never resolved anything. We don't know if these two still got issues, which is no way they don't. If this wasn't a skit, which again, I'm not putting nothing past nobody. It could be a skit. This could have been a whole scam, right? But I don't know if Jess Hilarious is that good of an actor, right? Some people are like, Jess Hilarious got permission from the higher-ups to spaz out before she did it. But spazzing out is one thing. You saying, I don't like this girl, and a lot of stuff she said on that thing, that's different. Because if I'm Lauren, whether it's a skit or not, I feel away because you said some really heinous stuff about me. Just gonna be honest. I feel away. Even if it was a skit, a planned skit, whatever, even a wrestler, when the dudes wrestle and the dudes slap a dude, it hurt. It still hurt. Even though it's fake. Sorry for some of y'all that don't know. Wrestling is low-key fake. I'm just gonna be honest. But even though it's fake, it hurt. Throw you off the top buckle. Hit a chair on your back. That stuff hurts, gang. So I'm going to go on a limb and say Lauren had to be hurt by some of them words. That's why she closed the elevator on her, right? So at the end of the day, if this was a skit, it was a bad idea because it's going to have lingering effects. She said, she talk over me. She knows she talk over me. That's why I told her, shut up. Da, da, da. That stuff going to linger, especially two women that really both strong. That stuff going to linger, even if it was so-called fake. But I'm just going to go on a limb. That stuff was real to Jess. And Jess was hurt. Jess ain't that good of an actor to be crying on cue. That's the part. That part is why I'm not so sure this was a skit or some type of promotional stunt, because that girl was really hurting that. And that, if you watch that clip when she's talking to Charlamagne and Envy and Lauren, that girl ain't that good of an actor, gang. She ain't no Florida Evans. Just be honest, gang. So what I'm going to say is, I say this was corny because they never showed any resolution. These people came back to work the next day. They don't seem that good. The little bit of skits, not skits, the clips I have seen, they still seem like we just work here and we're going to be cordial. I'm just going to be honest. If stuff is resolved, you're a little bit more, okay, girl, you're a little bit more pleasant. You don't got to give congratulations and stuff on air like that. We good. We know we're good. I don't got to pretend to be that we're cordial to each other. That's when you're really not good. So the clips I've seen of them interacting on these things, and it ain't been that many, just gonna be honest, it still seems like there is tension in the air and this stuff is not healed. I think they've both resolved to be in the same room and keep it professional until this tree shakes out and whatever falls out, falls out. I don't think they've come to an understanding where they're going to be good. I'm just going to be honest. I think they're going to be professional, which does not make for good content. When you got two people, we're just going to be professional, right? Then you get Melissa Ford on the Joe Budden show. She's kind of checked in, checked out. Then you get that, right? So what I'm saying is, I think the Breakfast Club is still handling this awful, right? You give Lauren LaRosa her own thing. So then at that point, let's just be honest. If you're giving her own show, then she should be off doing her own show. She shouldn't be the third and fourth chair still in the way of what y'all got going on. But at the end of the day, they was never getting rid of her. That podcast is going to be in addition to. And how can they make the podcast grow if she's not on the Breakfast Club no more? So they've been hired, Loren. Before Jess got back, Loren was already hired. They just wasn't telling Jess. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how true that is that they weren't telling Jess. So I don't think that this thing has been resolved like the way they trying to make it. Like, we're just going to move forward. You brought this to, we didn't bring this up. You brought this up into the public media. Like, you gave us this thing, and now you're not going to resolve. You're just going to say, okay, tune in tomorrow. They're going to be fine. How is Loren going to resolve talking over her? How is they going to resolve that Jess says she don't like her? It's a lot of stuff that they didn't resolve. What are we talking about? That's what I'm saying. Like, we need closure. How we gonna resolve that? Charlamagne sat there and let all of that go down, knowing damn well he was about to release a podcast with this girl on his network. Which means he has a vested interest in her staying in that seat. Which means no matter what Jess said, she wasn't going nowhere. Right? If Charlamagne signed her to his network, he already said that stuff take months. So he knew months ago, weeks ago, that this girl was going to be signed to his network, so she wasn't going nowhere. Did he tell Jess that? It's a lot of unresolved things. See, I know that they push this narrative, oh, go to therapy, be healthy, da-da-da. But if you're going to go to therapy and be healthy, then that show needs to be healthy from the inside out as well. And I don't think that they're resolving things like they're saying. And I believe that there's a lot of things that Charlamagne, because it's all good content to him, it's all going to spin the needle. And I think I'm sure my invite is going to be lost in the mail at this point to sit up at the Breakfast Club. Ain't nothing I can do about that. I just got to keep it a buck. So at the end of the day, right, I feel like we just witnessed a unresolved issue get more unresolved. Loren is actually getting rewarded for doing her job, but at the same time, she caused friction within a unit that was already molded into what it was becoming. She got in and caused, not on purpose. This is all done by iHeartMedia and whoever else is in charge of running that show. But they inserted that cog in that wheel, allegedly after Jess approved her. I don't think Jess knew what she was getting into when she approved this girl. But once she approved her, which is whatever. Sometimes people make you think you got a choice. Yeah, sure. Which one you think it is? And all three is the same choice. Yeah, which one? Yep. You was never going to choose. They was always going to choose her, but they made you think you chose her, right? So they allegedly make Jess think she chose this girl, but she was already chosen anyway. So they inserted this girl into this situation, and now the situation is still going to be awkward. Like I said, Jess still calling out. She ain't there today, right? So it's like, you haven't resolved anything. Jess is still calling out. Jess is still not in the building. She's doing Club Shay and everything else like that, right? So it doesn't feel organic. It feels like office workers who still don't get along. So for you to do that video, you need to give it up. Like they're just, this is all tongue in cheek. No, I think it's still serious. So I think doing that video was at the risk of offending people who really like the video and really like these two. I thought the move was corny because you haven't shown us that they deserve to do a video making fun of their anger and making fun of their issues and just hilarious anger when you haven't shown that they even got past it yet. So if they still have issues with each other and they're making parody videos about that issue, that means that you're pupperizing them to do that because they would have never done that without you telling them to. And with that being said, the whole Breakfast Club crew behind the scenes gets a donkey of the day from me. I'm giving out a donkey because y'all ain't telling nothing and y'all making like it's all good and it's clearly not. But let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong in the comments, I'll be wrong. I'll let you know if you're right when you tell me that I'm wrong, all right? CLBMG, I'm going to catch you on that flip side. Let me know what you think, man, because I feel like the Breakfast Club, to me, is really becoming like one of these Zeus network shows. It's kind of like weird stuff going on, and it's just for you to say, wow, like, you know, it's almost clickbait. It's almost like a stage thing. It's almost getting scripted to me, in my opinion. I'm just gonna be honest. Let me know what you think. CLBMG. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
CLB.